What's going on, everybody? This is Alex Harshman with Wholesale to Freedom. This channel is all about wholesaling real estate, both virtually and locally, business, entrepreneurship, and everything in between. Today, we're going to be talking about how to make a phone call or how to, communicate with the sellers if you don't have a script. So if you don't have a script, you're just getting into this, or maybe you just need some guidance on kind of what information to collect, this video is going to be for you. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So why is a script important, or why is it important to have a game plan in place to know what to say whenever you get the seller on the phone? The reason is because you want to have some kind of guidance or some kind of process in your head, and that way you can streamline this process not only for yourself, but later down the road you want to be able to scale your business. And if you hire people out, you want to give them a substantial, if not easy, script or formula to go with. That way they can get the information they need, so that way you can formulate the offers that you need. There's two ways of doing this though. There's the way where you do everything in one phone call, which I highly do not recommend. Everybody that I've talked to, who's doing multiple deals a month like myself, they're not doing it in one phone call. However, you still can do that. There's people that are successful at doing it that way. But what I would recommend is breaking it up into two phone calls, and the first phone call is strictly for collecting information. That way you can do your research, and then the second phone call, you should be scheduling an appointment with them to make the offer. So that's what I do, and that's what I found to be very successful in my business. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So the first phone call, again, is just to collect information. And let's get right into what information you should be doing. So if you want to take a pen and paper down, write this down. I'm also going to have the option for those who, they're going to listen to this. They're going to be like, great, that's awesome, but I need somebody to hold my hand, or, I need somebody to show me step by step how to do this. And I have that option available down in the description below as well, where I have a script. It's the same script that I use in my business, and I even show you how I train my VAs in the script package. So what it is an all-in-one script package. It teaches you how to use the script, how to use the offer script, and how to train your VAs on the script. You get to watch a video on how exactly I do that live. Also, you get to hear live recordings of me on the phone making offers, also on the first phone call. And you can see as a bonus how I filter my buyers and my JV partners. So that is available down below, but let's get right into the freebie version, and it's going to be enough for you to get started if that's the route you want to take. So first things first is you want to have an intro. An intro is going to be where you set the expectation and you set the tone for the phone call. You're letting them know exactly what you're calling about and what you're calling for, as well as introducing yourself, so that way you can get right to the point. You don't waste their time and you don't waste your time. And an intro sounds something like this. Hi, my name's Alex. I'm calling to see if you had any properties you would be interested in selling. Or, hi, my name's Alex. I work for a company and I was calling to see if you had any properties you were interested in selling. We buy houses cash. Something along those lines, and you want to make it super simple so that way they don't hang up, because if you have a 10-minute intro, they're going to be like, all right, this dude's a scammer, and you don't want that to happen. So straight and to the point. One of the next things that I would recommend having is a question that says, hey, is now a good time to talk? Once you confirm that they do have a property they're interested in selling, you want to ask, is now a good time to talk? If they don't have a property they're interested in selling, say, would you ever be interested in the future? That way you can mark them as a follow-up. And if they're still not interested, say, no problem, I thank you for your time and have a great day. End the phone call right there, because you don't want to waste any time. Time is so valuable in this business, especially when you're doing this on your own and you're cranking out these cold calls. It takes up a lot of time just to have this awkward conversation that doesn't need to be had. You just say simply, hey, thank you for letting me know. We'll update our records and you have a great day. After you've confirmed that it's a good time to talk, now you have the approval to go through these next questions to get the information that you need. I mentioned positioning and setting the expectation. This is where you're going to want to decide, are you going to be a person who's buying houses solo, which I don't recommend, or are you going to be a person who's working with a partner who's buying properties, or are you going to be working inside of a company who buys properties? And this is the way you position yourself, and it's very important because you have to stay with the same script or the same philosophy throughout the entire script. I recommend one of the two options, the last two options that I mentioned, either having a partner or working inside of a company, because it allows you to have somebody else that you can blame in case the offer doesn't work out, or if maybe you offend them. You always have that fallback person to say, hey, listen, it's just my job to do this, I'm sorry. They make me ask these questions, or my partner, he's the money guy, and he makes me ask all these questions, so I apologize, something like that. So once you've determined kind of like what you are and where you're working from, whether you're buying them solo with a partner or inside a company, now you position the questions and tailor them to the next questions I'm going to ask. After that, you're going to want to ask for their contact information, as far as like, hey, is this a great number to call you back on in case we get disconnected? This is important because they might say, well, no, this is my landline. Here's my cell phone number in case we get disconnected. That way you can text them if you need to. After you've got their contact information, you want to know kind of what their motivation is for selling. So, hey, I called out of the blue, but why are you interested in selling this property? And you're going to get a really good indication of why they're interested in selling and their problem areas. So we're going to ask some questions later on that might dig up this motivation if they don't tell you right away. But oftentimes you're going to get told, I'm just wanting to sell for the right price, and that's fine. But you also want to, uncover any hidden gems, as I call them, as to why they might be motivated in selling. So, my family member died, I inherited the property, it needs too many repairs, I'm behind on my payments. These are things that you're looking for, because this is going to allow you to determine how motivated is this person. After you've determined their level of motivation, you want to do the simplest thing here and confirm the property address that they're wanting to sell. Even if you have the address, say, hey, listen, I just want to confirm, what is that property address that you're hoping to sell? And I position myself and I position the statement in that way because it makes them sound like they are hoping to sell. And one of two things are going to happen. They're going to say, I'm not hoping to sell, or they're going to say, well, this is my property address, 123 Main Street. By the way, I'm also interested in selling XYZ Street. It opened up the opportunity for multiple properties. So this next part is going to be about collecting information on the property, because this is information you're going to want to need to make your offer, to formulate repairs. And on top of that, you want to have this information in case your buyer has some questions and you need to answer them, as far as the condition, maybe the status of the AC, things like that. So as you go along, you make more phone calls and you start talking to more buyers, you're going to get a kind of understanding of what the pattern is of what buyers are looking for. Typically it's the roof, AC, windows, structural things that are the major costs. They're going to want to know these things. But I like to just simply ask the seller, hey, can you tell me a little bit about the property? And they'll go around and talk to you about some of the details of the property, or they'll be very super short and to the point. And that's where you got to kind of ask the specific questions, like, hey, when's the AC been fixed, or when's the AC been replaced? Does it even have AC? What kind of heating does it have? How old is the roof? Things like that. You can ask these questions if you want to. Or you can keep it super simple on the first phone call. Say, hey, listen, how many bedrooms, bath, square footage does the property have? Does it need any repairs? And then you can get an idea from there. And the reason why the 1-2 phone call option is so great is because even if you don't get all the information on the first phone call, when you call back to make the second phone call, the offer call, you can collect that additional information. Say, hey, by the way, these are some things I forgot to mention that my manager wanted me to ask. How old is the AC? Things like that. So you get a second chance, if you will. Once they tell you about the home, kind of what it looks like, if it needs any repairs, things like that, you're going to want to ask the seller, hey, what do you think your property's worth in today's market? And the reason why this is important, this is not asking them what they want for it, it's asking them what they think it's worth. And it's important because if you're doing this virtually, you can actually get a sense and kind of a gauge of what that property is going for in that market, because in a lot of virtual markets it's street by street basis, and it gives you just like a good baseline of where the seller is thinking and a good baseline of what that property value might be. That's not always the case. It's not always the case that the seller's accurate. Oftentimes they're not, and if so, they're usually higher than what it's worth. But it just helps you understand kind of what's going on with the property. So you're just basically painting a picture of what's going on with the property. Because remember, I lock up all my properties over the phone. I don't ever go out to the property beforehand because it's a waste of my time, it's a waste of their time, and I do everything once we have an agreement in place. The next thing you're going to want to find out is, are there any liens or mortgages on the property? Because you want to uncover those from the get-go if you can, because you want to understand, factoring in the offer, how much the seller is going to need to pay off those liens and mortgages. So typically what we do is we make an offer that covers the mortgage and the liens, and it comes out of the seller's proceeds. So you got to really make sure that you understand, what you're offering, because if they have $100,000 in liens and you only offer $50,000, that deal is not going to work. And it's completely normal to ask these questions because you need to know what you're getting yourself into if you're going to be buying these properties. And that's exactly what I tell the sellers if they kind of balk at whenever I ask that question. Next, you want to know what their asking price is. Now, oftentimes when you're cold calling, you're going to get somebody who says, well, you call me, you make the offer. And this is where the positioning and setting that expectation up front earlier in the phone call can really help, because you can say, hey, listen, I'm just calling to collect some information. It's not going to be me making the offer. It's going to be my purchase manager. Even if you're doing this solo, you can call back as the second phone call and just say, hey, listen, my manager was busy, but I'm calling back to make the offer. So you let them know, like, listen, my purchase manager or my partner is going to be the one making that offer. I'm just collecting information. So with that being said, is there a certain amount of cash that you were wanting for this property? And then you can just keep asking it in different ways like that. If they don't give you a number, if they absolutely don't give you a number after asking it like 2 to 3 times, just move on. Chances are they're not that motivated. You can at least call back and make the offer. And I've had it happen where they have accepted, but it's very rare. So you always have that opportunity. It doesn't mean that they're not going to sell. So just keep that in mind. After you get the asking price, just let them know, hey, listen, thank you for your time today. I have all the information I need here. We're going to do some research. And after we do some research, we're going to call you back, make the offer, or collect some additional information if we need it to make the offer. Is there a certain time of the day that works best for you? Okay, what day and time would work best for us to give you a call back in the next 24 to 48 hours? And that's where you set the tone, you set the appointment, so that way you can call back and make that offer, and you're getting the verbal commitment that they are going to answer that phone. And so that way you're not wasting your time. You're letting them know, like, listen, we're going to do some research, and you want to do this fast in 24 to 48 hours. So that way they know that you're doing research. And if it's a smoking hot deal, obviously you don't have to wait the full 24 to 48 hours. You can call them back earlier, but it gives you time, especially when you start getting multiple deals and you start doing multiple research on different properties. It gives you the time you need to do these things. So that is how you can make a phone call to a seller without a script. And it's just, like I said, it's very basic overview of what information you should be collecting over the phone or even through a text message. So that way you can formulate an offer, and an intelligent offer. That way you can have a great deal for your buyers. Obviously you have to do comps, you have to do all this stuff after the fact once you collect this information, but all this information is going to help you moving on to those next steps. If you want to know how to do comps, I have a video on that, on how to pull comps, completely free on my YouTube. Just check it out. I'll have that in the description as well. Again, if you don't want to do this, figure it out on your own, kind of make your own script, and you want somebody to just show you exactly step by step how it's done in detail and kind of the psychology behind it, my seller script package in the description is on sale right now for 50% off at the time of this video. I don't know how long I'm going to keep it up that way, but it's completely half off right now, and just take advantage of it. This is information that I paid over $50,000 to obtain, and I'm offering it for a fraction of the cost. So go in there, check it out. You don't have to buy if you're just checking it out on the website, but if you do, I guarantee you it'll be one of the best investments that you'll make in yourself, because now you're saving yourself time and money, and years of just trying to figure out the perfect script and years of trying to figure out what to say on the phone. And I even show you the objections that you're going to come across and how to handle them. So it's an all-in-one package, man. I give you so much value in that because I want to provide you so much more value than what it's worth. And that's just under promise and over deliver is my philosophy. So I hope you check it out, and I hope you enjoy this video. Even if you go the free route, which is nothing wrong with that. I did that when I first started. I didn't have a script, but that option is there if you want it. So I appreciate your time and your support watching this video. If it did help you out at all, please like, subscribe. That's the very least I ask, is just subscribe, like, and share with anybody who you think might benefit from these videos. I'm starting to build a community here, and I want to really help the community build and grow, because there's a lot of people out there who are kind of just demeaning and not very nice to people getting started. So I understand where they're coming from on both sides. So I want to help out everybody, and that will definitely help me do that by helping the YouTube algorithm. So again, I hope to see you guys in the next video. If you have any video suggestions, just comment down below. Even if you just want to comment your favorite color, I'll respond to each and every comment. And the video ideas really do help, so I can help you guys by answering your questions or any insight on the process that you want. So again, thanks for your time. I hope you have a great rest of your day.